Here's Netanyahu yesterday giving a speech, and then we'll show the protesters as well. Go for it, Rob.
Many anti-Israel protesters, many choose to stand with evil. They stand with Hamas. They stand with rapists and murderers. They stand with people who came into the kibbutzim, into a home. The parents hid the children, the two babies, in the attic, in a secret attic. They murder the families, the parents. They find the secret latch to the hidden attic, and then they murder the babies. These protesters stand with them. They should be ashamed of themselves.
I have one other interesting clip if you'd like.
Let's see it.
All we know, Iran is funding the anti-Israel protests that are going on right now outside this building. Not that many, but they're there, and throughout the city. Well, I have a message for these protesters. When the tyrants of Tehran, who hang gays from cranes and murder women for not covering their hair, are praising, promoting, and funding you, you have officially become Iran's useful idiots.
I've never heard them cheer like that for any president except Trump.
Some of these protesters, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing, some of these protesters hold up signs proclaiming gays for Gaza. They might as well hold up signs saying chickens for KFC.
So you can pause it right there. So, Tom, what do you think? I saw a reaction from both you and Vinny. What are your thoughts on what he said there?
So there's a couple things that Netanyahu said I think he's absolutely right. Number one, you know, the 7th happened. It happened. It was horrible, and it was disgusting, and it was a weird, you know, global response to it that unfolded, but it was horrifying. And he's pointing out that if you're going to be protesting, it is a hell of a lot different to be protesting and saying, hey, Palestine needs a state. These people need a home. No one's going to disagree with that. You know, now, is the state get carved out of your backyard? Okay, different question. And so you can be compassionate about people and the strife and the situation they're in. Says, but at the same time, you can objectively condemn, you know, the people that are supporting Hamas, you know, who perpetrated this terrible thing. And so the other side of it is, you know, you got to be careful what you support, because what you support also reflects on what you don't support. And what you don't support is going to make an implied reflection of what you support. And so I thought in those clips that we just saw, Netanyahu was making a very good and very precise point, Vinny, and was getting support from the U.S. Congress.
Well, so what's the ultimate goal of him being there yesterday? What was the goal? Like, why was Benjamin Netanyahu at Congress to do what? Well, he wanted garner American support.
Foreign policy from his side, along with the economic and military aid that comes with that.
Exactly. He wants. Right? The last time I remember him in Congress was 2002. Rob, I sent you the clip. He claimed that Saddam Hussein had nuclear weapons and that he developed them from Russian scientists. Okay, and then he goes to suggestion that murdering and overthrowing Saddam would bring peace to the region. And then he said, what was the quote that he said? People, give me 1 second. He said he guaranteed it would have positive reverberations in the region. It did the complete opposite. Rob, you could play this.
Well, wait.
What?
Before we do that, let's be fair on that. If you're going to go back to history and do that, then you have to say the same thing about Tony Blair. And you have to say the same thing about Brian Mulroney. You have to say the same thing at that time. And about W.
And Bush Jr.
And about Cheney.
But Rob.
You know, saying, hey, Saddam Hussein's got nuclear weapons.
Yes.
And if we knock this guy off, it's going to be better for the Middle East.
Yeah, they're all on the same page.
The West was singing the same song.
Oh, no, I agree 1,000%. I'm not talking about them right now. This is specifically about him being in Congress, and I agree. By the way, that's one of the main reasons I left the United States Air Force was because of the war and because of all the lies that were told.
I respect that.
So that's number one.
Tony Blair also sat in that chamber and said the same thing.
That was a whole coordinated thing. But all I'm saying is this: it reminded me of this, which everybody was singing the tune about Saddam Hussein, and there was nothing positive that has come because of it. Go ahead, Rob.
I guarantee you that it will have enormous positive reverberations on the region.
Killing Saddam Hussein.
And I think that people sitting right next door in Iran, young people, and many others will say, the time of such regimes, of such despots, is gone. There is a new age. Something new is happening.
And that is speculation on your part, or you have some evidence to that effect?
You know, I was asked the same question in 1986. I had written a book in which I had said that the way to deal with terrorist regimes, well, with terror, was to deal with the terrorist regimes. And the way to deal with the terrorist regimes, among other things, was to apply military force against them.
The way we did in Afghanistan.
The way, for example, I want to answer your question.
Well, I guess I'm running out of time, so I quickly was trying to get there. We've done, I think, what you proposed in Afghanistan, yet I haven't seen that sort of neighborhood effect.
Well, I think there's been an enormous effect.
Really?
The effect was, we were told that there would be a contrary effect. First of all, people said that there would be tens of thousands of people streaming into Afghanistan, zealots who would be outraged by America's action, and this would produce a counter-reaction in the Arab world.
But I think you're not saying that when you take an action like we did in Afghanistan, we're going to see all the other countries just fold.
No, what we saw is something else. First of all, we saw everybody streaming out of Afghanistan. The second thing we saw is all the Arab countries and many Muslim countries trying to side with America, trying to be okay with America. The application of power is the most important thing in winning the war on terrorism. If I had to say, what are the three principles of winning the war on terror? It's like, what are the three principles of real estate, the three L's, location, location, location? The three principles of winning the war on terror are the three W's, winning, winning, and winning. The more victories you amass, the easier the next victory becomes.
Yeah,
the first victory in Afghanistan.
I mean, but think about Pep. So he guaranteed, that guarantee didn't fall through. I mean, it completely fall through. Afghanistan, still a mess. Nothing positive is going there. I don't know.
What did he say you disagree with? What did he say about earlier in that clip that was played that said supporting gays for Gaza, it's like, chicken for KFC? Or when he said the same people that are being funded by Iran who hang gays from, what did he say?
A crane.
Or they beat up a woman because she showed a little bit of hair, are the same ones that are funding you. Yeah. You know what they look at you as? As a useful idiot, right?
I'm not anti any of that. Like that everybody understands that. Everybody understands terrorism is wrong. Everybody understands that what Hamas did was wrong. Who funded them and who pays for all that, that's a whole different story. And going back to us not even knowing, nobody knows what happened on October 7th, meaning why. And that's a whole conversation we've had 100 times. Nobody knows what we are, where we are. I think the protesters are bought and paid for. They're bussed in, and we have a video that we could show PBD about that. And I get it, but it's like, what is the ultimate goal? We all get it. This war on terror, there's no face to it. It's been going on for how long? Terror.
These guys are what? These guys are the protesters.
These guys. Who's paying for this? Who is paying for these losers to show up, support Hamas? Okay, burn American flags. Who's paying for this?
He told you who.
No, Iran. And hold on, ready for this, Adam? So he's in Congress in front of the Biden regime.
Show the burning of the flags, Rob.
Yeah, which pisses me off so much, Pat. And then Adam, what I'm saying is this Biden regime that he's in front of and they're all cool with. Who released that $6 billion, or how much was it, Adam, to Iran this year? Who was it?
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden. Okay? So I don't want to hear all this. Oh, they're supporting, we're not supporting. They're funding this, all these people, and this is, again, the border as well, because the people that are masked, who knows where the hell they are? Who knows where the hell they come from? Who's paying for this? Where does this come? This isn't organic. This is paid for. This is somebody wants this to be seen, and obviously it's election year, but, that's...
Can I...
Yeah.
Seems like there's more camera coverage than there are actual.
Yeah, and by the way, where is this? Is this the Capitol?
It's
is outside the Capitol?
Yeah,
by the way, so burning and setting fires outside, nobody's going to get arrested.
I give my opinion on flag burning. I gave my opinion on flag burning a month and a half ago. Go ahead, Adam.
Well, Vinny, you're going to have to pick a side, buddy. Here's the reality.
Okay, so it's a side picking thing. I have to, because that's exactly what you have to do is pick. You have to pick a side. I don't want anybody dying, Adam. I don't want any war, but I want answers for why we are where we are. Period. Is that bad to ask?
Totally appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
But just like how there's a binary option between the next presidential election, you're going to have to pick Trump or you're going to have to pick Kamala. You're going to have to pick a side in anything. Is Trump 100% right? No. Is Kamala 100% wrong? No. But you're going to have to pick a side. So, you're bringing up Bibi Netanyahu, for instance. I had to go back and figure out, all right, this guy, by the way, the reception he got when he walked in the room, you would think like the second coming of Jesus showed up. I was like, whoa, I had no idea there was this much support in Congress.
Himself.
He was surprised.
He made it look.
Okay, and this is his fourth time speaking in the joint
audio
session.
work.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I hear this?
Okay. That is left, right, and
Look
center.
at his face at the end. You have to see his facial reaction. It's coming.
Remember who's on the top left of your screen, Mike Johnson.
Thank you.
Okay, you don't have it. There's a look that he makes where he's kind of like, they continue, is like a surprised look. Wow, I didn't even know you guys like me this much. I thought this was not going to be the case.
Correct.
Yeah.
It was resounding to the point where I was like, all right, this is a little much. I was like, all right, why is it? So number one, the testimony that he gave was just a congressional hearing. That wasn't addressing Congress like this. This is the fourth time he's done this. By the way, you might be saying, well, is it unique that world leaders address the joint session of Congress? Was basically when the Senate and the House all come together. It's actually happens pretty often. Last year was Zelensky. Before that, it was Jens Stoltenberg, who runs NATO. Macron addressed it. The Pope has addressed it. Shinzo Abe of Japan. The president of Afghanistan. Bibi Netanyahu has done this 4 times, and I think this is his 5th term of being the prime minister of Israel. But here are my 5 biggest takeaways of what he talked about. He spoke for about an hour after that very, very warm reception. Reception, yeah. Number one, he talked about what happened on October 7th. And he said, it was very clear. He said, this is not a clash of civilizations. This is a clash versus barbarism and civilization. And he was very clear to say the American allies are Arab allies, whether it's Jordan, whether it's Kuwait, whether it's UAE. He was very clear in saying this is not about Israel versus the Arab world, Israel versus Islam. This is about barbarism. And who's the leading sponsor of terrorism? Who's the leading sponsor of barbarism all around the world and all around the Middle East that's sowing discord? It's the Islamic Republic of Iran. And he was very clear about that. He says that these are the people that are funding Hamas. These are people who are funding Hezbollah. These are the people that American soldiers are fighting against the Houthis in the Red Sea. Americans are dying. By the way, on October 7th, you know how many people died? 1,200 people died from 41 different countries. You know how many American citizens
200 or
died?
300? 300?
37 Americans died.
Oh.
Americans.
Yeah.
So there were, I think, 255 hostages, and 135 was returned. So he basically called out Iran. He said, quote unquote, America is the guardian of Western civilization and is the world's greatest superpower and is at the forefront of stopping the Islamic revolution that Iran wants to sponsor all around the world since they came into power, as you know, in 1979. Number 3, biggest takeaway. Who's funding all these useful idiots, as they call him? Well, there's a few people. Iran is the leading sponsor, but you also have the George Soros globalist wing. You also have the TikTok generation wing that's going on out there. They want to sow discord and chaos in America, and these are the useful idiots. And you know what I found very interesting? He called out the university presidents. He called out Harvard. He called out Penn, and he called out MIT. You know what was interesting about MIT? Do you know who graduated from MIT? Bibi Netanyahu. You know, he was educated a lot in the United States. He's a very worldly guy. So
a lot of change in the biggest critics, like Bill Ackman, came from those institutions, which makes them even more upset because I gave my money here, I gave my time here, they gave me a good degree, good education, and now it's come to this. So a lot of those folks are upset.
They've seen that it's, and these useful idiots. So when I said you have to pick a side, Vinny, here you have the Prime Minister of Israel being applauded by American congressman basically saying, we support America, we love Israel, we love America, and then you can juxtapose that with the useful idiots shouting death to America and burning the American flag. It's not a hard pick for me, and I assume as an American veteran, it's not a hard pick for you, but those are your options right there. These are the useful idiots. These are the resistance who hate America. Number 4 point, Gaza. Let's address what's going on in Gaza. He said there's a 3-part plan, and the 2 out of the 3 are the most important. He said, number 1, we are going to demilitarize and de-radicalize Gaza. Demilitarize and de-radicalize Gaza. We do not want to resettle Gaza, but we do want to have security control so this never happens again. And then he said, where has this happened before in history? Because let's use history, because if you don't learn from history, you're destined to repeat it. Well, in Germany and Japan, they had to go through a de-radicalization and demilitarization to get where they are today. Look at them now. They're some of our greatest allies. So here you have a situation where our enemies in World War II are some of our greatest allies in the world today. And he basically talked about the second coming of the Abraham Accords, which he wants to basically call the Abraham Alliance. And he thanked Trump for that. And he also thanked Biden for his support, especially on the attack from Iran that came in April. The Abraham Alliance, and he wants to basically form the NATO of the Middle East. Because again, I'll ask you the question, who is the number 1 threat in the Middle East that everyone's worried about? The Islamic Republic of Iran. And he basically compared them to Russia during the Cold War and forming this NATO alliance. Here's the last point. I had no idea that the relationship with America and Israel was actually this strong until I saw how Congress was treating Netanyahu. It was a full-on bromance. And he said the following words. He goes, the future looks bright, basically, because America is a light in the world in the darkness. And we are proud to be on the front lines against terrorism in the Middle East. There's no American boots on the ground there. Israelis are dying, fighting terrorism. So if you're like, oh, well, Gaza, I want to free Gaza, cool. But do you also support the Houthis in Yemen? Do you also support Hezbollah in Lebanon? So you're just supporting Iran's terrorism tentacles. Cool, got it, makes sense. So he said that Israel is an oasis of prosperity and peace in a troubled region. Like I've always said before, Israel is the nicest house in a very bad neighborhood. And America is a light in the world. And he left the speech, these people in Congress, selfies. So I'm thinking, are all these people, let's go down to AIPAC must own all these people. Okay. Is that what it is? Sure. How about, and I'm learning this, the most evangelical Christians in America, the most, millions, tens of millions in America, they stand with Israel. They follow the Bible, the land of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So they are the reasons that they are so steadfast with Israel. It has nothing to do with actually Bibi Netanyahu and Israel. They read the Bible, and Judeo-Christian values permeate, especially through the Republican aisle.
Well, here's my question, though. Can I, because you're saying you have to take a stance. How about, can I do this, Adam? Can I hate Hamas and anything that any terrorist organization stands for, and at the same time disagree with Bibi Netanyahu, the guy that's, he was supposed to be on trial for bribery and all that stuff in his country, that has been saying forever what he's wanted to do with Gaza, okay? It's not a secret. And all the signs, all the warnings, all the everything, all the failure of security. And then you're talking about the future of Gaza. How many displaced Palestinians who aren't Hamas had to leave and get out because of the bombing? 2-point-some million? How many?
Millions of people have to move, yes.
You mean to tell me when the smoke clears and the bombing and everything's done, how many of those people are going to be brought back to? I'm genuinely inquisitive.
What do you mean brought back?
I mean all the people that had to leave because their homes are rubble now. Yeah. When they rebuild this thing, and I've seen photos and I've seen what the future of what Bibi wants it to look like. How many of those people are going to be gone? Like, hey guys, come back to your homes and to your land. Well, I'm just curious.
Vinny, let me ask you something. Where do you think those people are, buddy?
Who knows? Who knows?
What do you mean?
They're displaced. They're all over the place.
Vinny, read the news, bro.
What news?
They're still in Gaza. They've been moved from Rafah to Gaza City to Yan Kunis. Like they're still in Gaza, guy.
Yeah, but not
Egypt won't take them in. Jordan won't take them in. They're not in Israel.
It's not their responsibility to take them in.
Listen, hear me out.
Yeah.
They're still in Gaza. What do you mean? Who knows?
I'm saying
I know. You know, everyone knows. They haven't gone anywhere.
But okay,
what are you
Adam,
talking
what about
about?
the part? Adam, what about the part of Gaza that got in the most?
Those are
that's
that part's
flattened?
destroyed. Exactly.
Okay, but what I'm saying is
that's like saying, "Hey, we're in Fort Lauderdale, bro. But Fort Lauderdale's destroyed. We got to move to Miami. Cool, we're moving to Miami.
yeah,
we're still in Florida.
Yeah, they're in different parts. But my question is, once the main
they're displaced.
once
They
the
don't
main
have, it's not like they don't have
once
a
the
land.
main city, once that main part
Gaza
is
City,
bought
yes.
is bought back, how many of them are going to be able to come back and reclaim what the rubble? That's all I'm saying.
They got to build it. Listen, don't get it twisted. Gaza should be Singapore right now. Gaza should be Dubai right now. They've been granted billions of dollars, bro. Billions of dollars. And where'd all that money go? Come on, follow the money. Where'd all the money go?
Well, for what?
To terror tunnels and stolen and hijacked by Hamas. This isn't a secret, dude. Just follow what's going on here. Hamas, where does Hamas leadership live?
All over the world.
No, not all over the world.
And Qatar and places
exactly.
like that. That's all over the world. That's not their land. That's
not all over the world. They're in
Iran,
Qatar.
they're in Qatar, they're everywhere.
No, they're in Qatar and they're billionaires because they've taken all the money that should have gone to the people to build schools and mosques and playgrounds and hospitals and help the people. But they said, no, we're going to basically build terror infrastructure for one reason and one reason only, to attack Israel.
Yeah.
Now, if Israel wanted to drop a bomb and kill literally 2 million people, don't you think they could do that? But no, they
could,
don't
but
want to do that.
yeah, but what would they look like if they did that?
Well, of course. Well, everyone already thinks they're doing genocide. But what's the point? We're talking about Bibi Netanyahu's speech. He said in the speech that the international court, they're basically trying him for to be a war criminal.
Things.
He said that and check this in the speech, it's been the lowest civilian to combatant casualty in the history of war. Why? Because they drop leaflets, text messages, calls, emails. They say, we are coming into the city next week. Get the hell out of there. We're coming for Hamas. Get out. Everyone said, you can't go into Rafah. He said this in the speech.
Yeah.
I'm just reciting. This isn't my opinion. You can't go into Rafah. There's too many people there. He said, we're going in. Get the hell out. You have 30 days. Those displaced people, you're like, I don't know where they are. They move back north.
Yeah, some of them did get bombed and killed. But
that's what happens.
But here's my point. Yeah, but
the point is, nobody wants to see dead people.
But I don't like.
Nobody wants to see dead babies. Nobody wants this.
I don't like nobody does except terrorists. But I don't like the fact when somebody says you have to pick a side. This is what happens with that rhetoric. If I don't support Hamas, then by default I'm a Hamas supporter,
Vinny,
which is bullshit. You
Vinny,
can't.
Do you support Donald Trump?
No, 100%. I support Donald Trump.
100%?
Yes, 100%.
So
meaning I support him.
Okay.
Not everything that he does,
Do you
but I support him.
understand one thing? Just soak it in. Bibi Netanyahu is the Donald Trump of Israel.
I wouldn't say that.
I'm letting you know this.
I don't know about that.
All the courts, all the trials, everything. It's the same exact thing, bro.
How do you
not realize
stretch.
that?
That's a stretch. You can't.
Tell me the reation why that's not the case. Tell me the reason it's not the case.
Benjamin Netanyahu compared to Donald Trump.
He's literally the Donald Trump of Israel.
He was. I don't think so.
You don't have one rebuttal.
From the build-up, from who he is and how he came to power and everything.
You know who he is in today's society.
I don't know.
I'm telling you.
What he's, both of you guys, what he's saying is that politically and ideology-wise, he's like Trump. What you're saying, I don't know, because he's been in it for 40 years. Like yesterday he said, President Biden and I have a 40-year friendship together. I remember President Biden verbatim said the following to me. I'm a proud, his words, this is Biden words, Zionist, Irish American.
Irish Catholic Zionist, yes.
That's what he said. Yes. Okay, so you're saying he didn't come the business route, he came the journalism route to be up to where he's at right now. Maybe that's what you're saying.
I'm just specifically saying if you're going to compare any politician in America
I'm watching the chat right now. I'm watching the
Trump.
chat right now. Some of you guys fully disagree with Adam. Some of you guys fully disagree with Vinny. Guess what? Go ask them a question. They'll respond. Right there. Connect them right there and ask them any questions you may have or ideas or other articles to help them strengthen their argument. Show the QR code of Adam and Vinny. Ask them a direct question if you don't agree with them and see what they tell you here.
Please, send
they
me a
will
message.
respond back to you, except Adam's voice,
He'll talk to you
still
like
respond back
What were
to
your
you.
thoughts on this going on here?
I thought he gave a
Everything.
great message. I was surprised how much he was welcome. I saw the what is the 4 girls?
Oh,
she was
God, the
holding that
squad.
sign up.
Yeah,
Did you see the
Rashida
sign up?
Tlaib. He's a war criminal.
Yeah, war criminal holding the sign up. I saw that.
Of course.
I thought he gave by the way, he's probably one of the best communicators in the world. Even when you've seen that
Gifted.
one 2002 C-SPAN back and forth of the way he explained the 3 L's in real estate, location, the 3 W's in wars, winning. Yeah, while she's doing that, I don't have opposing idea. I don't have a problem with this. I don't have a problem with people having differing opinions. But you know what sometimes happens? Sometimes you sit there and like the Israeli side. It's what I keep saying over and over again. I'm not a LeBron James fan. Can't stand him. He owns the NBA right now. With agents, with managers, with sponsorship, with everything. He owns the NBA right now. They don't even know it. Michael never owned the NBA the way LeBron does. LeBron is a Jew in the NBA. Okay? LeBron is using Jewish tendencies to run the NBA. That's LeBron, okay? Say whatever you want to say. It's the strategies he's using. You know what Jews did? They simply had better strategies, better discipline with money, long-term thinking. They did business together. They invested instead of wasting their times, created a ton of wealth, and control a lot of different industries. You know who else can do that? Armenians, Assyrians, Persians, whites, blacks, Irish, Italian, you name it. You can do it as well. It's a strategy. Who says you can't use that? They've done that. Now, how they use their power and they bully, they take advantage, they use Mossad, they do all of that stuff. That part, criticize it all you want if that is taking place. All you want. Mossad, I've had the former director of Mossad on the podcast, and we had a conversation together 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, before any of this stuff took place. It's a very interesting conversation because, it was, he had a hard time answering any of the questions because he was trying to, walk around protecting, not to say what to say. But all those questions can be in favor. But Vinny, the part that Adam asked the question that is partially right is you in your family, if you have kids, and if you don't take a position on one side or the other, you're going to raise confused kids, okay? And trust me, it's not going to be like you're going to sit there and, well, what about this and what about this? Like, how many arguments on faith are you 100% that Jesus is God? Are you 100%?
100% believe it.
You believe it.
I believe that.
Do you know it?
I mean, that's my faith.
But faith is what?
Is my
calculated
believing something
guess.
that I haven't been seen, but I believe in my heart.
That's right. Me too. But it's
Yeah.
faith. Is there
Yes.
risk in faith?
Of course.
Okay, you marry somebody. Are you 100% that's going to work out?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. You're going based on what? There's an element of faith, right? In certain things, you'll do business with certain people. I've been in business with a lot of people that I don't trust 100% of them. Can't say that. I'm going to go into insurance business with some guys and I trust them 100%. It's not going to be the case. But there has to be a position on what one side stands for versus what the other side stands for. And for me, having lived in Iran, and I'm going to say this continuously, and seeing what happened. By the way, they talk about Israel is the reason why the Middle East was at peace. You know why the Middle East was at peace? It wasn't Israel. It was because of the Shah of Iran. The Middle East was at peace when the Shah was in charge. That's when Iran ran the world. That's when Iran was the reason why there was nothing going on in the Middle East. The first time you ever heard the statement, Markbar Amrika, happened in 78 by Khomeini's camp. Pre-78, you would have never heard those phrases from Iran. Iran would have been somewhere like right now, you know how we're sitting there talking, saying, where are we going for Christmas?
Yeah.
You know what the conversation would have been? Let's go to Iran. I'm being serious with you. We would have said, let's go to Iran. Let's go to Iran. Let's hang out there with the family. Let's go stay at the Four Seasons. Let's go stay at Hilton. Let's go stay by the mountains. Let's go skiing. Have you seen the skiing, what Iran looks like? You ever seen the mountains of Iran?
Ridiculous.
Have you seen what skiing Iran? Go skiing in Iran. And this is Iran. People don't realize. That is Iran.
Wow.
That's not Aspen. That is not, Montana. That's Iran, okay? Iran was a place that was heaven on earth until these Hezbollahs, Khomeini, these people showed up, and it changed. That is a proven case study. So as much as Israel wants to take credit for the Middle East being at peace, you know how the Shah was? Here's how the Shah was. The Shah was slightly different than even Netanyahu, because I'll take a complete different position here. The Shah got so powerful, so strong in the Middle East that nobody wanted to fight. With Israel, every once in a while, there's what? There's fights.
Right. Yeah.
With the Shah, top 5 military in the world, everybody's like, look, man, you do not want to cross the line with the Shah. Peace, peace, peace. And then the 25-year oil renewal contract was coming up in 1979. Hey, man, we got to make sure the Shah falls. Jimmy Carter, Shah falls. Contract, it's a mess. Then, comes Saddam Hussein, comes Khomeini, comes all this stuff. It's a mess. Ever since Jimmy Carter went to Iran to do a toast with the Shah December 31st of 1977, the Middle East has been a shit show. Ever since. This is the toast. Rob, if you want to pull it up, Carter and the Shah. Ever since this toast, this is the day. The last time the Middle East was at peace was this day. Wow. Pull up this day. That's the day. Okay? That is the last time the Middle East was at peace. December 31st, 1977. Jimmy Carter praises Iran as a what? An island of stability. What? What'd you say? Iran, an island of stability? Yes. A Democratic president called Iran an island of flippin' stability. Then what happens? They leave. Hey, man, these guys are getting a little too powerful. He takes a shot at the blue-eyed people. And you know what he said about the blue-eyed people? Can you pull up the video about blue-eyed people? Just type in Shah, blue-eyed people. Okay? Type in blue-eyed people. Just go to YouTube, Shah, blue-eyed people. Watch this, videos. Okay? How long is this? 53.
53 seconds.
Okay, go for it. Play this. Watch this. Audio, Rob?
Audio, shut it off.
Not of, candidly, Your Majesty, is there no element, not of revenge, because that is not a noble impulse, but at least some element of satisfaction in seeing the giants of the West in some disarray?
Well, no, because their disarray is, I think, needs a restructure of their society.
The brown-eyed peoples are teaching the blue-eyed peoples something, is that?
Well, no, we are not teaching something. The blue-eyed people have to wake up.
Wake up to?
From their
sleeping pills.
Complacency for this torpor in which they put themselves by taking maybe too many sleeping pills.
You know when he said that? You know what year that is, Rob? Is that 74 or 77? Can you see what the date is on that? It's either 74 or 77. This is the last time the Middle East was at peace. The Democratic Party, Carter, whose campaign was Human Rights Movement, which was a noble movement, good guy, caused him to fall. After he falls, what happens? The Middle East has never been at peace since December 31st of 1977. Correct. We can talk about all the stuff that we want. And even Jews sometimes want to give a lot of credit for Israel. Pre-Israel was doing what they were doing. Iran was bringing a peace. And by the way, Iran had a very good relationship with Israel. And he was not a fan of Zionists. Mm-hmm. Have you heard what he said about Zionists? Can you pull up Shah of Iran on Zionists? You've never heard what he said about this?
I may have, Pat, but I can't recall the whole thing.
Shah of Iran Zionists. Watch this. That's the one. That's the clip. It's too long, Rob. You have to realize, I have a book coming out in September. It's a book I've been working on for 14 years. The character in the book is an Assyrian kid named Asher, whose mother is Armenian, who is about a secret society that recruits kids and develops them into future leaders of the world. As it got closer that this book was being released, in the book, one of the villains in the book is a former director of Savak. Savak is the Mossad, the CIA of Iran.
Still to this day, they're
Savak was, not after Khomeini.
Got you.
Do you know who contacted me and said, I have to have a meeting with you?
Who?
The former director of Savak.
Wow. So this guy is he was dangerous.
Came to the house, and me and my wife and this guy and his wife, he spent 8-9 hours with me. What? We talked about the good, bad, ugly of what happened with Iran to fall, all this stuff, because of this book, okay? Wow. And he says, how do you know me that you're depicting me as the person in the book here? Because he read the book. Somebody handed him the book. And we sat there and he says, am I the villain? Are you talking about me? And by the way,
excuse me,
he's the
He's the main bad guy?
I wrote about him as the character of the villain prior to ever talking to him or meeting him.
Wow. How did he like the book?
Oh, he couldn't believe the book
Wow.
when it came out. So, but the point here is, you know, sometimes Jews want to take a lot of credit for, you know, Middle East, all this. I got to tell you guys, if you're watching this a little bit on the Israeli Jews, folks, okay, yeah, Middle East was at peace when Iran was in charge, okay? I'm just telling you. Middle East was at peace when the Shah was running Iran and everybody and their mothers would go to Iran and visit, okay? And Mossad and Savak were closely together. Mossad, Savak, MI6, and CIA would all train each other, just so you know. Savak was trained by Mossad, was trained by CIA, was trained by MI6, and then Iran's destroyed. Then comes, you know, the new Iran, the Hezbollahs, the Houthis, all this stuff, and then the Middle East has been a mess.
Can I respond, please?
Of course, sure.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, basically, that would the world be better served if the Shah of Iran was still running the country or the Ayatollahs? It's not even close. Let's not, I mean, what are you talking about right now? By the way, when Israel became a state in 1948, a lot of other Middle Eastern countries became a state because the Ottoman Empire controlled the entire Middle East up until World War II, up until World War I, and then World War II. The British Mandate of Palestine basically was taken over. Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, Transjordan, all these countries came to be. Do you know one of the first countries to recognize Israel in 1950? Iran, the Shah. So they recognize that Israel had a right to exist. That's a definition of Zionism. By the way, do you know what country today has the highest approval rating for Israel? The people of Iran, because they know what it's like to live under a thug life regime. So the numbers are just basically adding up here. But what's the point? So, you know, you can be critical of an enemy, obviously. You can also be critical of an ally. But you know what you could also be? You can be critical of your own country. I love America. How many times am I criticizing Trump, Biden, Kamala? That's part of democracy. So you can criticize who the hell you want, and that's fine. By the way, do you know Bibi Netanyahu's approval rating in Israel? Take a wild guess. In Israel.
And when wartime happens...
No, right now, bro.
83 points. What is it?
What do you think it is?
83?
83?
95.
95?
50.
32%, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
hold on. What's Trump's approval rating in America today?
40, 50%.
No.
Approval rating?
There it is right there, 32%. So what does that mean?
Well, what's Trump's?
The majority of Israelis are like, yo, bro, I don't like what you're doing. That's a democracy, homie. What is Trump's approval rating right now?
48.
You know the number. It's 42%. That's his ceiling and his floor basically for the last 8 years. What's Kamala Harris's approval rating? Here's Trump right here. What's the number? I guarantee you it's 42. What's the number, Rob?
Favorable.
42.4.
Oh my God, how do they know that?
Yeah.
What's Kamala's?
It has to be, what, 20, 15?
38%. What's the point? Is that in a democracy, exactly.
Well, this isn't a democracy, but you can keep going. I hate when people say this is a democracy. We are not a democracy.
We're a republic, but we're also a democracy.
How does that work?
Vinny, I want you to go read the Bill of Rights and the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence.
What about the Pledge of Allegiance?
You saw a video one day that was like, we're a republic, not a democracy.
No, it's in the Pledge of Allegiance. You love the Pledge of Allegiance.
We're still a democracy.
You love the Pledge of Allegiance.
The republic of which it stands,
yeah,
of course.
we're the republic.
But we're also a democracy.
I don't believe it.
That's like saying, I'm a human, but I'm also a being. Yeah, you're both, guy.
Get to your point, please.
Yeah, but just don't call me a homo sapien.
Yeah.
It's true. What's Kamala's approval rating?
Adam, get
37.
to your point.
I already made the point.
Okay, then we're moving on. That's it.
Is that you can be critical of your allies and your enemies.
The contest we announced with Minet, guys, is a contest that's very unique. A lot of you who have big plans of 2024 where you want to do second half of the year, this contest that was announced, effective July 1st, goes till August 31st. The winners of this contest will have a chance to meet Dwayne Johnson and also be invited to be on stage, recognized in front of nearly 10,000 people, where people are going to see you on stage, 10,000 people, your face with your Minet handle for people to be close to you. This is an opportunity for you to network with thousands of people, of them directly knowing who you are. And the way to compete for this is either you're an expert and people ask you questions, or either you compete as a user asking others questions. Right now, in the lightweight category, the leader right now is Bryce Mitchell, UFC fighter. Number 2 is Caleb Altmaier, which Caleb is a pastor, I believe, out of Washington or Portland's got a big mission. He buys strip clubs and builds it into facilities to create rehabs for dancers, which is very interesting. What he's doing. Yeah, for trafficking, yes. And then you have Jose Alvarenga, who is third place for lightweight. Rob, if you can zoom in a little bit. Middleweight, we have right now, as the ranking goes, Samuel Riley, then we have Matten Hakkar, and then we have Aaron Borgman at third place. Heavyweight, we have Dennis Panev, then it's Candace Owens, then Dr. Calvin Ing. Home team, Vinny crushing it as usual. And then you have new users, signups. Mark Cook, first place. Then it's Ronald Silsky. And then Russell Morgan and existing users, Shaw, Matthew, user 0, have asked the most questions. If you haven't yet started participating in this, we had a client reach out to me the other day, ended up being a $100 million client business for somebody I refer to. There are people asking questions about homeschooling, parenting, kids, marriage, finance, preparing for an interview, many business questions, day-to-day questions, political questions. When in the election season, have you ever seen a season where you can go ask some of the biggest influencers on politics, what do you think about it, Cuomo? What do you think about it, Candace? What do you think about it, Tulsi? And they respond back to you. Never in the history of America have we had a time like this that you can actually be able to communicate with some of the biggest influencers on the left, right, and the center and says, what are your thoughts on this? To be able to make better decisions for your family. The QR code at the top is right there. Download the QR code. And if you got any questions here for the folks on the panel, Rob, if you want to pull up the Connect handle for the 4 folks we have here, any one of these, you can ask me, Vinny, Adam, or Tom any questions that you have.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.